his head, and there he goes. Abyss gonna clean him up.
Olaf goes down. Everyone's just going to line up here for Lazzy. He's going to find himself the Quadra. Give it to him. Pentakill.
Priestley with the quad feed.
Gets the ace. Available just spin to win all over.
That game was insane.
Hello everybody, welcome to some St. Clair Saints League of Legends action. I'm John and Bill Bangs Udima, joined today by Ashton. I'm Red Nutter, and Ashton, we got a game on our hands here. St. Clair Saints are going to be in the playoffs for NACE Star League. They are 6th seed facing off against 3rd seed Binghamton University.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. As far as we know, it should be a little bit evenly matched. I believe both teams are 5-1 so far. Yeah, so it shouldn't be too bad off. But I'm very excited, and I was wondering, what are your predictions for this game?
I mean, to be honest with you, both teams being at 5-1, I think St. Clair's only loss was still pretty close to games both the times they lost, so I think they can prove themselves very well. Obviously, we haven't seen Binghamton this year. We haven't played against them, so we don't really know. Last year they did beat us pretty well, but again, it is a new year, new roster, completely different players for both sides. So obviously, I think last year voting to this year, not really too much of a big comparison. So I mean, I can't really predict anything now. Obviously, I am a St. Clair fan, so I'm hoping St. Clair will win. But I think it's going to be pretty evenly matched. As I said, there was only, I think, 2 teams that ended up going 6-0 throughout the whole season. So Binghamton had the lowest, because they were 3rd seed, it means they had the lowest or the fastest match times for all their wins. So most likely, I think, again, both teams being 5-1, going to be pretty even. I'm going for St. Clair, but it could definitely go to Binghamton as well.
Yeah, I definitely think you're definitely right. It could go either way, but just for the sake of content, I'm going to call right now. I think it's going to be 2-1. Whoever that's going to be in favor of, don't hold me on that.
I definitely think it's possible, but looking at how the seasons went for St. Clair specifically, I mean, every single game, every single series they played has been a 2-0, including their loss, which was a 2-0 for the team they faced. So, I mean, for me, when I look at this series, I definitely think it's going to be a 2-0, whether St. Clair wins or loses. We even saw when they played Western, they won that first game, and they fell really, really far behind at the beginning of the second one. They were down 6-0 in the first 4 minutes of that game. So, they ended up coming back, and they ended up winning that game in pretty decisive fashion. So, I think even though they may have lost early on in game number 2, all that momentum from game 1 was carrying on, and it kind of brought that into their second game and really transformed themselves and gave themselves a good chance to try and, win the second game, which they did.
Now, one thing I noticed when I was casting for the other league games is that pretty much every time on the first round, there would be an all-in gank on the enemy jungle. Now, I don't know much about our opponents Bing besides what we've already mentioned, but you think we might be able to see one of those today?
I mean, I think early on in the season too, we definitely saw Ricky and Ehug dominating their opponents. A lot of the times, Ehug was just getting himself significantly far ahead in the jungle. Ricky obviously was winning top lane every time. But as the season's kind of worn on, and it is, I mean, it is a Swiss bracket, so you are playing against every team that is evenly matched with you. So you are playing against opponents that got better. We didn't see as much dominance, and especially in the second half of the season, I definitely think Ricky had a couple rough games, specifically on the Aatrox, and Ehug, although he wasn't doing bad, he wasn't smashing his opponents like he did at the beginning of the season. So I think for me, okay, so we played them last year, and we lost them in map 3. Thank you, production. So it did end up going to a 2-1, but again, like I said, I don't have too many players coming back from last year, so looking at them this year, I think it's going to be a different team. But I mean, realistically, I definitely think Ricky and Ehug aren't going to have that dominance that they showed early on in the season, and I'm looking to lean more towards Zephyrod, who for me has looked amazing in the second half of the season. He had such good LeBlanc performances, has such a good response. He had a Syndra where he had 25 stacks on Medjai's at 25 minutes, which is ridiculous, and I'm looking for him to really shine in this series because it's playoffs. It's time for players to step up and start finding themselves leveling up throughout the season.
Yeah, and now with bans. Now, I'm a little slow. I thought we were on patch 11.22 already, and I was told before the broadcast that I was very mistaken. So what kind of bans do you think we're going to see for this game? You think it's going to be the usual what usually happens for the one tricks on our team?
So realistically, throughout the season, we've seen the Jax ban and the Aatrox ban against Ricky, and we did see actually when they played Western, Western did allow the Jax ban to go through in that first game, and he was smashing him with that Jax ban. Like he looked incredible on the pick. He made some really good plays and was able to split push and just defeat them in the macro. So I think now looking at this one, I'm expecting the Jax 100% to be banned. The Aatrox, we have seen the Graves as an answer into his Aatrox, and it actually has worked well. Ricky has struggled against the pick because Graves top is so powerful with fleet footwork. He gives so much healing in lane, and he can control waves really well. So I'd be curious to see whether he decides to go for that Aatrox if they don't ban it or if they leave it up. And we have seen Talon and Kiana banned a lot. The aggressive junglers for EHUG have not been available for him, but realistically, I think what'll most likely happen is they'll let Viego come through, and Ricky or EHUG is going to pick up that Viego. He's looked pretty good on it so far, but he hasn't been as dominant on the pick because it's not necessarily a pick you can just smash early on and get ahead. You kind of have to wait till you scale up a little bit, get your Divine Thunder on your belt, and that's when you can start really affecting the map. So I think most likely we'll definitely see either an Aatrox or a Jax ban or both, and a Assassin Jungler ban, because that also has been very strong, and maybe even a Yuumi ban, because Yuumi has risen in priority significantly over this
Oh
patch.
yeah. Now, I will throw in there real quick. On the last broadcast I did, and I saw an Aatrox got banned. I had a lot of people telling me I said the name wrong. I know you caught me on that because I was calling him Atriox, I think. And I'll try to make sure I keep an eye out for that today.
All right, all good. I got you. So hopefully we are going to be getting into game here, or in a draft, sorry, in a few minutes. But I mean, we talked about predictions already. We talked about the St. Clair season, but I want to go in specifically on Ricky and EHUG. So the first half of the season looked really good for them. I think the second half of the season they definitely struggled. They had a couple of good games, like you said. Ricky on the Jax looked very comfortable, but it seems like when they push Ricky off these comfort picks and you force him onto a tank, you specifically, when they were in the playoffs for CLOL, he was forced onto the tank picks, onto the Scion, and he just got destroyed by the top laner there. So do you think he goes for that tank pick, or does St. Clair say, okay, we trust you and we're going to put you on a bruiser?
Honestly, after what we've seen him do with tanks, I don't think it'd be a good idea to go on tank again, which we are going to see. They did ban his Jax, obviously, and the Atriox, and like you said, the Yuumi. Yeah. I think it would be a good idea to try him out on a bruiser, but honestly, tanks are so useful. It's a matter of how well he can do on them.
Yeah, for sure. So we are going to see, getting into picks and bans here, we are going to see the Jax, Aatrox, and the Yuumi ban from Binghamton. Nothing too crazy there. Those were the expected bans. We are going to see a Viego ban on the side of St. Clair, actually. So they did also ban the Riven, which I believe the top laner for Binghamton is really good at, so not surprising there. And the Graves as well, a good flex pick for Binghamton to go between jungle and mid. And we are going to see the MF first pick. So I mean, I'm kind of surprised they banned the Viego. I thought they would go for something else and just allow the Viego to go through so they could pick it up on the second rotation. But, I mean, it makes sense just because you can first pick that Viego, and St. Clair maybe not so comfortable on it. Kind of want to get a priority pick onto their mid laner. We are going to get the LeBlanc for Zephyra, which he looked so good at in his last couple outings.
Now, talking about that Viego pick, I could be very wrong here, but I have not seen many Viego players this last patch on League. I thought he was not good right now.
So he got nerfed in 11-20, so he was pretty, like, he was down in the dumps. He didn't get played too much, but he got a pretty decent buff onto his move speed, his attack speed with his E Shroud, and with his base AD ratios got all increased. So he got significantly buffed in 11.21. So if you're looking at like Worlds right now, there's no Viegos at all because he's not very strong, but 11.21 he got significantly buffed. That's why we've seen so much of it. We are going to see an Udyr and a Veigar pick coming through. So I mean, I like the Udyr pick. I think it gives a lot more. It definitely increases your early clear. He's one of the best early clears in the game. It's going to put pressure, especially on this bot lane. We did see in their last series, they were running the Senna against last week. I forget who they were playing last week, but St. Clair, whoever they're playing last week, was running the Senna for Barlow. Barlow really got bullied there by the MF, specifically on the Senna. So, I mean, if you have an Udyr, you can fast clear, get down to the bot lane. Senna doesn't really have a good escape for that Udyr. And then if you miss your snare, you're kind of just screwed. So, definitely a good pick here. But the Veigar, I don't know about that one.
I am smiling under my mask right now. Dan knows behind the camera. Veigar is my main character, and I know too much about him.
So, I mean, if he's your mate, let me ask you then, specifically into the matchup with LeBlanc. I really think Vigar is going to struggle because LeBlanc, although the E
Yes.
can block a significant portion of the LeBlanc's threaten, like the significant portion of her abilities. The problem is later on in the game, the shorter LeBlanc's cooldowns are going to be, and Vigar, that E cage will remain at a decently long cooldown throughout the whole game. So, especially when you get later on, he's going to be very, very susceptible to these all-ins by LeBlanc. So how do you kind of defend yourself? Obviously, you are going to get like a Banshees or Vizanias or whatever you choose,
Yeah.
but how do you play around that?
Honestly, early game, whenever I'm playing Vigar into a LeBlanc, I always have trouble. She has her clone that makes it very easy for you to trap the wrong thing, which for someone like me who's not very good at the game happens a lot. But later in the game, I will say the trap, or as I like to call it, the baby cage, it's on a not very low, but a lower cooldown. So it's okay if you miss it, because later on it comes back up in what, like 6, 8
Yeah,
seconds,
6,
something
7
like that.
seconds.
And you're not going to miss every cage, right? Now the thing is, no matter what, even if you don't have your cage, you don't need the cage to attack with Vigar. You have your W that sends the comet down on the ground. You have your Q that hurls evil power at the at the enemy. And honestly, I think as long as this Vigar can continue to CS, I will always say, if you're going against a Vigar, scare him. Don't let him CS. You will win the game. If this Vigar can stick to CSing and gain a decent amount of stacks, I think he can be a carry.
It definitely has the potential to be. But my problem is I look at St. Clair, and that Heck Room draft earlier on was definitely key. But I want to go quickly through the rest of the bans and picks here. We are going to have 3 supports banned in that second phase, the Braum, Rakan, and Leona. And we are going to have the Darius banned away as well. Picks were Wukong, Soraka for Binghamton, and St. Clair is going to take the Camille and the Zillion. And to me, I definitely think St. Clair has a huge advantage in this game. I think their draft is very much superior to Binghamton, because I look over at St. Clair. You have the LeBlanc, you have Hecarim, you have Camille, you have Zillion, you have so much speed, and you're drafting a Soraka. So like there is, you have the Vigar cage, but you don't have enough disengage for it to be realistic for this Soraka to be able to live. Like the Hecarim is going to go unstoppable, the Camille is going to go unstoppable, and especially getting onto this Vigar and onto the Soraka, if they can access the backline, there is just no defense. You don't have enough disengage to actually be able to stay them off your backline. So I mean, to me, I see this team comp. I really, really like what St. Clair drafted. I think they definitely hard countered what BU was going for with their pick potential, with the scaling Vigar, with the Soraka. I just really think that St. Clair drafted superiorly, but I mean, what do you have to say on that?
So I will say I think both of these teams are watching my league games, because Zillion and Vigar, first of all, Zillion, for the first year that I played League of Legends, I one-tricked him the whole way through. Vigar, I one-tricked him for about 6 months. And the thing is, with Zillion, he can, if you use him properly, if you can hit your skill shots, I swear I want to see him hit his skill shots in this game. If he can hit them, he can be very useful to team fights, very useful to any team fight, especially with that revive. If he can stick to whoever is the most fed in this game and get that revive on his ally, like when he's low on health, obviously, I think they have a one game here, because if you have someone on your team who's extremely fed plus an extra life, I think that's a win for almost any team fight.
Yeah, I think looking at this holistically, I like the Zillion pick specifically because of the Vigar. Again, the whole point of Vigar is you stack up, you get your R to a very high AP number, and then you try and execute someone with it. But because of the Zillion, number one, you have the speed to escape. Number two, you are going to have this Hecarim who you can work with really, really well, because he is going to want to engage, the Camille is going to want to engage and go onto this Vigar. Vigar is going to try and use all of his abilities on you, but as soon as he dumps his combo, you're going to get R'd by Zillion, you're going to come back to life, and then you're going to be in the driver's seat in how the fight's going to proceed. So I definitely think it's going to be an interesting matchup here. And I mean, I want to talk specifically about this top lane matchup between Ricky and between Exile. We had the Riven ban. Exile, one-trick Riven, definitely a really good ban there, but does pick up the Wukong, who does want to do similar things to what a Riven wants to do in laning phase. So, I mean, I expect to see the TP Ignite out of Ricky for this Camille, and I expect to see maybe even a TP Ignite out of the Wukong as well. So, how do you think this top lane matchup is going to go?
Honestly, I gotta say right off the bat, I've never personally seen a Wukong player do poorly, and that's mainly because I don't see him often, because the only people who play him are the people that know exactly how he works. In my opinion, he's a very confusing champion. So, obviously, I would like to see St. Clair's top lane win this fight. Camille, it is Camille top lane, right?
Yes.
Camille is a hard champ to go into, but like at the same time, you're going up against a Wukong who has invisibility. He has like a crap ton of damage. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. Honestly, I think the Wukong might have this one.
That should be. It's a very interesting skill matchup. I definitely think early on in the laning phase, Wukong definitely going to have the advantage. Camille wanting to scale up. Once she gets to Ravenous, Hydra, and Sunder, that's when she becomes very, very strong and will be able to win out the split push. And that's when Wukong will most likely be looking for that team fight, because the combination of the Misfortune ult plus the Wukong ult can be very, very strong when you're looking at these team fights. But again, the problem is going to be when you're playing against this St. Clair lineup that they have. You do have the Camille, the Hecarim, and the Zilean. So much speed entering into these fights, and you have someone who wants to stand still and channel the ult like Misfortune. You have the Veigar, you have the Soraka who's trying to escape. So the problem is the Udyr and the Wukong can engage all they want, but there's no disengage for them. So this Veigar and Soraka and even the Misfortune are going to lack so much peel. It is going to be so difficult for them to actually stay alive in these fights. And I mean, really, if you're looking at this, I think Udyr is going to have to be able to pressure this bot lane early game. The Senna Zillion, not going to be a very strong laning phase. I definitely think the Misfortune is going to be able to win out on that one early on. But other than that, really the scaling, going to St. Clair, you have Camille, you have Senna, and you have the LeBlanc assassination. I definitely think they have an advantage in the scaling. So for me, looking at this draft, unless Binghamton can pull something crazy out of the hat, I think based solely on the draft, it is definitely going to be St. Clair favored looking at this game number one.
So I think things were a little mixed up on the screen there. Is it the team that has Zilean and Senna? That's St. Clair, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't. I'm just a little slow again. But I will say, when I saw that Veigar pick, I was definitely in favor of Bing being the winner.
Is that caster bias, though? That's caster bias.
A little
it's caster
bit.
bias.
A little bit of bias. He's one of my favorite characters. I have
right.
to. I'm sorry, but
right.
The thing is, I did think in my head as soon as they picked him that they had a very major advantage if he can CS. If he can't, it's going to be...
Well, the problem lies with this, right, is you have this Hecarim LeBlanc combination. That Veigar, with his cage, he can't stop the LeBlanc. But the problem is, Hecarim uses the ult, goes unstoppable, he can charge through the cage and push you back, right? So the problem lies is that unless this Veigar is being constantly hovered by the Udyr to try and protect him, he's not going to be able to do much in this lane. This LeBlanc is going to shove him out. She's going to be able to roam, take advantage, especially of the squishy bot lane that Binghamton have drafted, especially with that Soraka Misfortune in the bot lane. It's just going to mean that LeBlanc going to get unlocked on the map, and the Veigar just going to be stuck in mid lane CSing. So, I mean, realistically, I definitely think there's a chance if Veigar can get to a certain point that he can start just right click, or he can press R and just delete someone. But again, you drafted a Zilean to answer back the Veigar.
I will say one more thing about the Veigar is a lot of people have this belief that you can just very easily CS for the whole game and then right click R and be fine. You can't do that. you have to be able to use your combos. If you can get uber fed, I'd love to see him just right click R on someone and win a fight. That'd be stupid funny. But like at the same time, unless he can get uber fed, which I think with what you were mentioning with the enemy team who are going to be going up against him and stopping him from CSing, probably he is going to have a hard time doing. And with that Zilean also being drafted against him, as long as the bot laners can survive laning phase and maybe get a kill or two, that Zilean is going to be a godsend to St. Clair, and I seriously think that it's going to turn the tides of the game.
Yeah, for sure. So based on these drafts, what are your predictions for this game? And I mean, we won't predict the series yet, but for this specifically the game, for me, I definitely think I'm going for St. Clair here. I think their draft is way better than what BU have gone for here. I definitely think BU have small opportunities with the scaling from Vigar and with proactive play from the Wukong and the Udyr. But I mean, I just see St. Clair winning in the team fight part of it and definitely winning in the scaling part of it. I got to give them the better draft here, and definitely think they have a better chance of taking this one.
I gotta say, I completely agree that they have a better draft. But I don't know, something about the enemy team. Maybe it's for the sake of content.
Maybe it's the sake of caster bias. I think that's what it's the sake for.
But I think the students from Bing have a pretty decent chance here, and you know what? I'll take you up on a little bet here. I think Bing will win this first round.
Okay, so predictions from the caster desk are split for today, but hopefully none of these teams are split. We are going to be entering into NACE Star League playoffs here in just a second. St. Clair definitely looking to build. They did end up losing in the first round of CLOL playoffs, so trying to make it past that one here, trying to get to that round number 2 and push themselves further on in this competition. They were both teams 5-1 during the season, so both teams pretty evenly matched. We're going to see how that translates onto the Rift here. St. Clair Saints versus Binghamton University. NACE Star League playoffs starts now.
Now, one thing I was going to ask about was if you thought the Vigar was going to start with a Dark Seal or Doran's Ring, and I guess we're going to have a little bit of technical troubles here. Hopefully that can be fixed in a second. But I guess the Vigar starting with a Doran's Ring instead of a Dark Seal for the stacks. How do you think that might affect?
Dark Seal, unless you're playing active early game champion, is usually not a good choice. I mean, if you're playing an assassin, it's definitely doable. But the problem with the Dark Seal lies in the fact that a lot of scaling mid laners need the mana that you get from either the Corrupting Pot or from the Doran's Ring. So that's why Vigar will go for the Doran's Ring, not going to go for the Dark Seal. He is just a scaling champion, not going to do too much in the early game. Probably won't see him roam outside of lane too much, but again, because of the hacker room is going to be such a big problem here for him trying to get out of that lane. And LeBlanc going to be able to roam a lot more. Obviously, the Udyr, like I said earlier, very, very fast clear, but the hacker room can match it.
Now, I didn't really realize at first who was playing that Zillion. Now that I see it's fresh, me and him were talking about me playing Zillion, maining him for a long time, so I don't know if he's playing this as a little joke or...
No, I definitely think it was a choice here. And again, like I said, the Vigar choice, you definitely want a Zillion to counter it. Really good idea from St. Clair to pull that position. Actually, they played Zillion at Worlds earlier. I believe it was on Saturday. They played it at Worlds twice, so it has definitely become something new in the meta, and it's really effective against something like pick comp like what Binghamton has drafted here. So looks like we are going to get TP and Ignite from Ricky and a flash TP from Exile here. So Ricky, with this small laning advantage, will definitely try and push that forward, because having the TP Ignite is so powerful, because you have the teleport to go into team fights and you have the Ignite to win laning phase.
So, things in mid lane right now, it seems like the LeBlanc is getting a couple more hits off, but it's not too bad at first. Top lane is pretty even. I still have my doubts that Camille's going to win that lane, but as of right now, obviously it's the beginning of the game. But I don't know, I still think Wukong has a pretty good chance at winning it, but they are obviously even right now.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of poke going down here in the mid lane. Scrubbit already having to use a couple of those pots that he brought along. So good poke here early on by Zephyros, forcing Scrubbit to use both of those early pots. So that's going to be very, very hard later on in this laning phase when Hectrum starts to look towards the mid lane to gank. That means he is going to be low on HP. And the more poke this LeBlanc gets in, the better this laning phase is going to be for her, because that will mean this Vigar will be forced to back more often. Chains, are going to land in the mid lane actually here, but LeBlanc not can go in. But like I said, the more that LeBlanc pokes out the Vigar, the more she gets to roam, and that's when she's going to become very, very effective in this game, especially looking towards that bot lane that is so squishy for Binghamton.
We are going to see Wukong in the top lane taking a considerable amount of damage. He got down to half health right there, and he was trying to go in a little, like he is right now, he's trying to go in a little bit heavy, and it's not working out for him at all.
Ignite is going to be flashed away from Exile. Already forced to use that summoner spell out really early in this, but Ignite was used, and that's going to be a fight in top lane as well. Zephyr going to be joining here, and Udyr forced the flash away. Doesn't manage to get that Herald. Either a double root going to come down here in the bot lane, Ignite going to come down here onto Lin. Lin trying to walk away, will be able to escape, but Ignite was used by the Zillion there. So lots of fighting going on across the map, but like we saw, Flash had to be used by both top laner and the jungler for Binghamton, and the teleport had to be used by this Vigard just to get back to lane. So a lot of this early game power and pressure already going towards St. Clair.
We are going to see that Hecarim making his way down river. I don't know if he's going to try and make a gank. Probably not. They're not in a very good spot for it right now. Probably just taking that scuttle. But we're going to have the Zillion trying to back, maybe? No, he's just going to stay, probably.
And you can see already this Udyr looking like he wants to come for a gank in the bot lane here.
Oh, yeah.
No, flashes on both bot laners here. Flash going to come down for Barlow here. Silence going to come down. Exhaust going to go down as well. First blood going to go to the Udyr. BU Midnight picking up the first one. Flash going to come out of fresh here. Going to try and walk away. Double kill onto this Udyr. And already BU striking first here in game number 1.
Now St. Clair is at a little bit of a disadvantage here, and again, Wukong is going in for a lot of heavy fights here. He's trying to be aggressive, and it's just not working. Like, okay, well, now that I say that, the Ricky LaFleur is taking a lot of damage, and oh my, I don't know what to even say here. Like, every time that I say someone seems to be taking more damage, the other person just goes down so much health. But someone might be dying here. Ricky is going to go in for that kill. Is he going to get it on the Wukong? Oh my god, like 1 health right there, and he does actually get it. Ricky is very low on health. Luckily, their jungler is not anywhere near, but if the jungler was, that would be a very bad spot for him.
Yeah, for sure. So Ricky picking up that kill in the top lane. TP will have to be used by this Wukong here. Ricky going to force the wave out and then push himself back. So he does pick up the level 6. Exile still sitting on level 4 here. We'll pick up the level 5 in this lane, but I want to go back to that bot lane gank. I definitely think very, very good awareness there by this Udyr to know that the bot lane was going to have to force in that wave to the turret. They didn't want to have that stacked wave sitting in front of that turret where Soraka can just heal MF up and they can hold that wave in front of it. So really good awareness there by the jungler. Half down and just barely got fresh. Ooh, is going to be engaged in mid lane. Cage going to come down here, but going to catch the clone. Not Zephyr out, so Zephyr will be able to walk away here. Will be forced back. Doesn't have any items yet, so we'll be on that first back here. We'll be able to pick up most likely a lost chapter maybe, or a couple of just small MR items. But back in the bot lane, actually, the Executioners already bought for the Senna here, so they already cutting that Soraka healing in half. Although Soraka did get one change a couple patches ago, she got her ult cleanses grievous wounds, so that is definitely something to watch out for as the fights happen in the bot lane, because the item is basically ineffective when she gets that ultimate up in the available. So definitely interesting to watch here. And you are into a Soraka lane, so you are kind of forced to know, but this could be a repeat gank in the bot lane. Udyr posturing around, but it does spot it on a ward, so it looks like St. Clair will be walking up to where their LeBlanc is, and no fighting will occur just yet.
Now, just because St. Clair's... Oh my god, we're going to see Ricky LaFleur going in for a really risky hit there under tower. Does get Wukong down to half health. He's going to try and finish it off, but is he going to get it? No, he has to back off because he's too low on health.
Engage in the bot lane.
Oh, we are going to move back up the top lane. They are very low on health here, but Ricky's going to go back in and get that hit. Oh, that was clean and dirty at the same time.
So that was a kill on the top lane again. Ricky just dominating this Wukong on the top lane. He didn't even use Ignite there. He didn't even have to TP to reset. So he is taking all the advantage he can in that top lane. Already up 15 CS. And I mean, he has to compensate right now because the bot lane already down 0-2 on this Senna. And Barlow, again, I've said this many times throughout the season. I think it still holds true. He is just not performing well on these not unaggressive bot laners. Like bot lanes where you have to sit down, you have to force yourself to be aware of where the jungler is all the time. You have to play safe in laning phase and scale up to a point where you can be useful. He just is so susceptible to these ganks, and it just seems like he just keeps getting caught out. And I mean, they don't have flashes still. Udyr is bot lane yet again, and I mean, they do have a stacked wave here pushing towards the outer turret, so Udyr definitely could look for a possible gank here in bot lane again, and St. Clair just going to have to be ready for this. This is going to be a dive onto the mid turret. He's going to jump in, try and find an E-Hug. Going to take so much damage from turret there. Going to get stunned up, actually, but won't be able to go down here in just a second. They are going to put some poke down in the bot lane. Ult's going to come out bullet time. Going to get Barlow, but not going to be enough. TP going to come down as well, but Udyr going to be here to answer. Ricky is so strong right now. Picked up his items. Going to go for actually back up. Does get exhausted, so will be forced to use that TP. and no more fighting going to be in the bot lane. So a couple of risky plays here. Zephrot maybe looking for something here in the mid lane. Cage is going to be used here. Oh, this is going to be a bad position here. Going to go for it though. Zephrot going to get the kill. Can he get out here? Yes, he will. Going to get out from under turret. Clone will be popped. Udyr going to be on the chase. So flash can come through. Zephrot going to flash to match. That's going to mean he will escape here for the time being. So ends up being just a 1-for-0 in the mid lane after all that fighting.
So I will say, sadly, bot lane is kind of trailing behind for St. Clair. That doesn't mean they're out of the game, though, of course. They could still bring it back, get a couple kills, obviously. But I think this game, as of right now, is kind of relying on the hands of the shoulders of the Camille, as she is 2-0 against the Wukong. That does give her a pretty strong advantage, and my prediction is wrong. Obviously, she is not losing lane, but that is a very good thing.
Yeah, you can see looking at the gold graphs now that she is up about 800 gold onto this Wukong. But you look at the jungle too. This Udyr 2-0 already up about 700 on the Hecarim. So already a small advantage there in the jungle for this Udyr, and top lane obviously going in Ricky's favor. And it's a nice change for Ricky just because he has definitely been struggling the last couple outings here. But it's going to be fighting in the jungle. Ricky going to find Midnight here. Midnight is going to smite away that blue though. Will be some more fighting here. Wukong going to join the fight here in a second. This could get dangerous. Ricky does have the Ignite down, but that's going to be a cleanse of that. Oh, that's going to be a shutdown there already. That's going to be a cleanse of Grievous Wounds. Wasn't able to finish up that kill. Ehug going to have to wait out this cage. Will be able to walk away here. Midnight gonna save his life and gonna get the shutdown. Or actually, Wukong got the shutdown kill in top lane, so we'll even out that gold discrepancy. And Ricky just went a little bit too hard in that jungle, just couldn't finish off that Udyr. And I was saying earlier, the Soraka, the fact that you cleanse the Grievous Wounds is literally saved the Udyr there, because she applied the Ignite, but because that ult came through, he didn't have the Ignite applied anymore.
Yeah. I will say there is a lot of aggressive moves happening in this game, which makes sense because a couple of our players are playing very aggressive champions. But everything that's happened so far is happening out of nowhere. It seems like there's not really much build up to it, and we are going to see it happen again right here with LeBlanc just going in trying to get that root. I have seen Zephrot try to get a couple of roots off on that Vigar so far, but most of them that we've seen have been right under the tower, so it hasn't really been that helpful.
Yeah, stack wave here in the top lane. We're not nearby though, so it won't look like Wukong will opt the dive here. We'll just shove this in. Ricky will collect all this farm, and there will be a reset in the bot lane. And I mean, looking at this game right now, Binghamton up about 700 gold, so still a pretty big advantage to them. Mostly onto this Udyr is where most of that gold is. But meanwhile, there's going to be a gank here. Double bomb is landed onto that jungler. Midnight going to be rooted up here. Will be going down here in just a second. Shutdown will be picked up by the Hecarim. So St. Clair making an aggressive play into this jungle. And again, the fact that you have a Vigar in mid is hurting Binghamton because you just can't go and help your jungler because you're just not mobile enough.
Definitely. We are going to see that Zillion coming up to mid lane to help out a little bit. Although, I really got to say, I don't think the mid lane needs that much help. I could be wrong. They did just put down a... I'm forgetting the name of
Herald?
Rift Herald.
Herald,
Thank
yeah.
you. So it looks like they're probably going to make a decently heavy push on mid lane.
So it will be a little bit more plates in the mid lane for St. Clair. They will pick up a couple for themselves. And Dragon is going to be up here in 27 seconds. It will be an Infernal, which means Soul. Oh, never mind. There's going to engage in the bot lane here. Ehug going to try and go on to Osorio here. Will get exhausted, trying to catch up to the Soraka. But meanwhile, Zephrot is going to be jumped on by 3 people from Binghamton trying to escape. Ehug does eventually get it, but Fresh accidentally ulted himself instead of the LeBlanc. That is so sad for St. Clair. Ehug going to go all the way in here. Bullet Time going to come out here. Shut down onto the Hecarim for this Vigar, and the teleport going to come down here as well. This could be a bloodbath for Binghamton here. Does get the double knockup, has another ult available, not going to make contact on that second one. Barlow just trying to get away here, lands the root, will try and pop into the cloud here to run away, but taking so much damage at Midnight. Going to try and catch up here. Will he be able to get under this tower? No, he's going to get stunned up and cleaned up by Binghamton, and that's going to mean a 3-0 for the side of Binghamton.
I will say one of the biggest problems that people tend to find with Zillion is that you can very easily accidentally ult yourself when trying to ult your teammates.
But I mean, in a game like this, that is that is a horrible mistake that you can't make. You are in Star League playoffs. You can't be making those kinds of mistakes, because if that LeBlanc lives, she can assassinate that backline, especially the Misfortune who's trying to bullet time over the top of the team. So you can't afford to just make those mistakes in this kind of high level play. It's just not something, and Fresh is going to look back at that and say definitely could have gone in their favor, and it not only did lose them 3 kills, but it also lost him the dragon, and it's going to be a Mountain Soul here, so it's not an Ocean Soul, but meanwhile, there's going to be engaged in the bot lane. That's going to be Osiro going down to almost 0 HP. Your bomb going to come down here. Clean's going to come down, but that's going to mean Osorio will be taken down here with the ult, but EHUG stuck in the cage, has nowhere to go. Zealand ult not going to be available for him. So BU Midnight will even it up a 1 kill apiece. St. Clair looks like they will back off, so it will just be a 1-for-1.
Man, I've seen that guy's name like 3 times, and I still don't know how to pronounce it. The Oriosio.
Orisorio? We're just going to call him Ori.
Ori, yeah.
Just
Ori is good.
Just Ori.
We are going to see fights continuing to happen in top lane, though. Still, the Camille is 2-1 now, so not extremely ahead, and mid lane is taking some considerable turret hits. I don't know why they waited.
You wanted to get that play, that's why he went for it, so it made sense. But I want to talk about this Camille build. She went for the Triforce here. Very odd for Camille to build Triforce. Usually you want to go for that healing on that Divine Sunder, but opted to go for the Triforce instead. Does give it attack, but meanwhile on the ball lane, it's going to be a bullet time coming out on 2 different people. Not going to be able to kill Fresh or Barlow. They will back off, but again, the pressure being put on by this MF is significant. That's going to be an ult down onto this Vigar. That's going to be a 3-man, and he has nowhere to go, and that's the problem with Vigar. You're immobile. You get press star on by this Camille. You cannot run. You cannot hide, and Ricky will hunt you down.
This is not a very good example for me trying to tell people that Vigar is broken when he can easily get killed off like that, but we are going to see Fresh trying to get a couple of, pokes off on the enemies, but nothing too big there. We are going to see the Hecarim coming in, trying to get a fight on that Udyr. They're going to go right in, but back off. Too much heat, probably.
Yeah, did pick up that blue buff, though, and the first turret did go down in favor of St. Clair, and that is huge. This is going to be really bad, though. Stun going to come down here. That's going to be an ult for Fresh. Going to be able to stay alive here. Not going to be able to take advantage of it, or Osorio going to take a decent amount of damage, and a good slow bomb going to land as well, but looks like both bot lanes, again, opting out of this fight. It is an ult down for Fresh here. The Resurrection not available for him, and I mean, really on this bot lane, the problem is going to be it's so hard to kill people because you have a Soraka and you have a Zillion. So you can only put so much damage down onto this Misfortune, which you're going to get healed up by Soraka, and like you saw there, they went for the all-in, but Zillion just ulted himself and he was fine.
Now, I see that Zillion, by what it looks like he's building, I believe that's called Vandal Glass. Is he building Shirley's Battle Song? Because I know that's a pretty good item, but damage tends to work on Zillion sometimes too, because he does have a decent chunk of damage on that.
He can flex to that one. The Bandle Glass is part of Imperial Mandate as well, so he could go for that as well. So it depends what he wants to go. He can definitely flex in a couple different things here, but it's going to be a fighting top lane. That's going to be Zephyros coming down, but all going to come down from Soraka to match it. And Zephyros not going to be successful on that dive. They are both going to be very low HP. Hecarim and Zillion going to be here to back him up, though, so Exile forced off of this top tower, and they could actually take this. So this is going to be a second outer for St. Clair already in this game. He's going to be hunted down here. That's going to be EHUG going all in on Exile, and will be able to take him out. So EHUG picking up that kill, and top lane getting takedown as well as St. Clair definitely out-macroing them. There will be an answer with the bot lane turret, so they will be getting something back here. But, I mean, definitely St. Clair taking advantage of the gold lead they have accrued.
Definitely. Now, looking at this Senna, seeing that she's 0-3, it is not looking good, but we are going to see that Udyr in a very bad place here, getting teamed up by 3 different people. That's going to be him dying right there. There's no way he can live that. But the Senna, she's 0-3 and in a very bad spot, I would say. Do you think there's any sort of chance that she could come back?
Yeah, she's fine. She's scaling ADC, and she was playing weak side, so you didn't really have a lot of jungle attention from Hecarim, especially after they did go down really, really early in this game. So it's not a big deal. She's only down about 700 gold. So at this point, not too much of a big deal. You look at the jungle, for example, like Hecarim now up 700 gold. Top lane, especially Ricky, up 1,300 gold on his counterpart here in the top lane. So Ricky has significant advantage in the top lane, and that's really where you're going to be focusing. You did take that top turn. I'm expecting Ricky to head towards bot lane here. Dragon will be up in just 20 seconds, so 2 dragons already for Binghamton, looking for a third here, but I definitely think St. Clair, with better buys, is going to be favored in this team fight.
Now, what I'm wondering, these numbers that we're seeing, what were those?
That's the gold. That's the gold numbers.
The gold? Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you what is after, because there's going to be a fight here in just a second, because Binghamton is not going to want to give this dragon up, but St. Clair can't concede a third one here. The Mountain Dragon is available. There will be a fight here. This is going to be Exile going in. Going to get the double knockup on 2 people here, but will be knocked up here. Build time. Meanwhile, it's going to come through the top there. No deaths here. The Resurrect going to come through. Yeah, diving into 4 people here. Will go down. instantly to that execute, but what can they follow up with? Saying Ricky gonna get resurrected here, but nobody else here to answer, so Ricky, you're gonna be taken down as well. Midnight gonna take him down. Exile gonna take down one as well, and St. Clair just get run over in that team fight.
Now, St. Clair did lose a lot of deaths there. They were a little ways ahead at first. They are still 1k up in gold, so they're not that bad off, but at the same time, Bingham does have 3 dragons now. So this might be a little bit difficult for the team of St. Clair to be able to fight against this now that they have 3 different all different drags. I'm not sure the buffs that they give, but
so Infernal gives a little bit. It'll give 4% adaptive force, which is plus 4% ADAP. You get plus 6% armor and magic resist from that mountain, and you get plus 12% ultimate cooldown. But meanwhile, there's going to be another fight here. All going to come through, going to catch 4 people. But Ehug again going to be lost, but that's going to be Ehug taking out Orsorio before he can go down. So we'll be 1 for 1 here. Exile, very low HP, will be ignited as well. Midnight in the middle of everybody here. We'll be able to take on Zephyrok, going to chase down the Zillion as well. It's going to be Ricky finally taking out Exile, who will be stuck in the cage with Lynn and Scrubbit. Going to be trying to get him. We'll dodge out a lot of these skill shots. Ricky looking for one. There's going to be 3 people left here. Ricky going to be taken down here. Barely any HP on the remaining survivors here. This is going to be all cleanup for Barlow. Can he get the stun? Going to land. Resurrect can come through as well. But Lynn getting so much HP back. Midnight going to find another kill. Barlow going to get stunned up. And a double kill for this Udyr. That is Midnight running rampant all around St. Clair. And no one can answer this Udyr.
now it seems very evident to me that St. Clair is not doing good in team fights right here. Do you think that they should be focusing on objectives and laning, or do you think they should keep trying to see if they can win those team fights?
So I definitely think that was a very closely contested team fight. It ended up being a 3 for 4 for the side of Binghamton there, but I mean at the end you even saw it was a very close fight. But my problem is Ehug is just going in way too quickly. The whole point is you get Ehug to go in the back line, you fear them back towards your team, and you burst them out specifically with the LeBlanc and with the Camille. But the problem is Ehug is getting to the back line, and instead of being able to survive with that Zillion ultimate, he's going down before Zillion can actually reach him because Zillion gets zoned up by the Udyr. So I think you have to try and commit this Hecarim to go on this backline and have the Zillion with him, speeding him up and giving him the ultimate so he can stay alive in these fights. It's going to be way more effective. The other problem for St. Clair right now is this is now a 727 Udyr. This is a 2-item Udyr, and he is not being taken down by anyone. There's not enough damage right now for this Senna to actually take down the Udyr, and there's not enough consistent damage because right now this Camille trying to get to the backline, trying to take out this Misfortune and the Wukong is having problems. So, I mean, St. Clair, if they can try and win these team fights, they need to get someone onto this backline, onto the Misfortune, and they need to take down this Udyr early on in the fight, or at least be able to cope with him because he's so fast and so mobile that Fresh, even with all his extra speed that he's giving his teammates, they still can't escape.
Yeah. Now, I am going to say the Soraka on the enemy team, I shouldn't say enemy team, on Bingham University's team is 0-3, which obviously supports aren't meant to just go for kills, but I would argue that she, especially with her health, her healing being cutting down early in the game with that one item, I forget what you called it, do you think that she's very helpful right now, being
for sure. I think she's definitely effective in the team fight. She does have 3 deaths, but I mean, if you look at it, it's all about the ADC. The ADC 309 with the shield bow and the lore domes already built. Definitely a lot better spot than this Senna, who was only on the Kraken as well as the Executioners. So I definitely think the Misfortune is in a way better state than the Senna is right now, and that's why I think Soraka is doing her job. She did pick up the healing item there and does have the stopwatch as well, so definitely will be able to stay alive a lot better in these upcoming team fights. Ricky looks like there will be an engage here in the top lane. Going to land this E on the Exile here. Ult can come out though, and Exile going to win that 1v1. The ult coming out a little bit late from Barlow there to save his teammates. So Exile now winning these 1v1s, and like I said, the problem right now is this Senna has built a Triforce and a Titanic, which is fine if you're looking for team fights because it increases your attack speed and allows you to be pretty tanky here. Exile going to be able to walk out from here. Ghost going to be activated though. Ehug going to go for this kill. Ult going to come through though to try and save him, at least for the moment. Ult not being expended by Ehug just yet. Will save it, but Lynn meanwhile does get another kill onto the Senna. Going to try and run down Fresh here as well. This Udyr is scary. Stuns up Fresh here. Going to pull out the Phoenix form. Fresh will use the ultimate on himself, but he has nowhere to run. There's 3 people sitting here waiting for him to come back to life, and he will just be taken down. So Lynn unstoppable, 509 on this Misfortune, and just a huge bot lane discrepancy between these 2 teams right now. Misfortune way ahead of Senna right now, way ahead of Barlow, and definitely hurting that one. You can see now extended the cold lead in the bot lane to over 2,000. So significant advantage there, and the problem is the Dragon's going to be up in 14 seconds, and 11 seconds on the Zillion. He's not going to be able to make it here in time, so this could be a Mountain Soul for Binghamton.
Now, I will say in that fight with Fresh, I don't think he should have used his ult. I think he should have saved it because he was going to die there no matter. We are going to see the Camille just getting teamed up by almost a whole team there, as well as E-Hug. He is trying to run away, but will he be able to make it? No, he is probably dead. Yeah, definitely dead. Why are they fighting 1-on-5 here? Oh my god. Okay, so this is going to keep happening to the entire team of St. Clair. So Zephyrot's probably going to die here. No, he's actually going to get away. I don't know why both of those people, I think it was...
This could be dangerous, though. Double Bomb's going to land, but Fresh going to go down instantly. Anyway, Zephyrot's still playing with Midnight's feelings over here, but Midnight will eventually chase him down. Does have Merc Treads as well, so won't be able to take him down here just yet. Zephyrot going to be trying to play with him. Blue team, meanwhile, will take that Mountain Soul. Zephyrot still moving this video around. It's actually very effective here. So Zephyrot actually is doing his job, is just trying to stay alive for as long as possible because he's waiting for his teammates to come back up. He got the execute, and this Baron is now available. So St. Clair will have everyone else available. Zephyrot will not be available just yet for this fight, but Mountain Soul was given over to Binghamton there. And I mean, for right now, I definitely think St. Clair needs to just stop fighting at these objectives. You just lost your last Baron fight, your last Dragon fight, and now you're just keep losing across the map. So I think they're kind of just throwing themselves, hoping they can get something back. But the problem is, you can't have Camille split pushing because she doesn't win into this Wukong right now because she doesn't have that healing that you need. So looking at this game, you need to wait till this Elder comes up and maybe think about a fight there. I mean, the gold difference is only about 2,500, so it isn't that much, but they have Mountain Soul, and the problem is you have a LeBlanc. She is going to pick up Rabadon sometime soon, but with a Mountain Soul, it is way harder to poke with this LeBlanc, and it's very, very much harder to try and burst down these very immobile carries for Binghamton, Vigar and Misfortune specifically.
Yeah, I do think that last fight was kind of weird. It seemed like, I think it was E-Hug and who was the other person? Ricky. They seemed to wanted to fight 1-on-5 for, like, they had none of their teammates around.
The problem was the Mountain Soul was available, right? So your thinking is, okay, if you're playing the Camille, you have the ability to E in, check what's going on, maybe drop a ward if you have it available, and then get out. But the problem is, the Udyr is so fast. He has this fully stacked deadbands. He has his boots with Predator, so you can E in to get a ward, but you're not getting back out. So once that happened, dude, he tried to go for something to find out, get some vision, but looks like maybe a dive here, and top lane Predator is going to be activated here. Zephyrot going to be stuck under the turret here. Both these people will be going for the dive here. Going to be stunned up. Will be Everfrosted. Going to dodge out of it, but going to hit that stun at the end. Scrub it. Going to get that kill. Exile, meanwhile, will be found here in the bot lane. Ult will come out here. Snare going to land anyway. Going to go for the second knockup, but E-Hug is going to be able to find this top laner. So E-Hug looking to try and escape. Exile going to be able to flash over the wall. Ult going to be used as well. They're going to finally take down Exile here, but what's it going to cost them? Baron is being taken right now. Going to be down to about a third, so they don't take this very fast because it is a Misfortune. So it looks like St. Clair will be maybe challenging for this one. It is going to be a 4-on-4 here. What can St. Clair do? Looks like Ricky will be knocked up. Stun on 4 people. Massive stun there. Stops everyone in their tracks. A huge double bomb. That's going to mean Ricky going to be rezzed here, but E-Hug in the backline just wreaking havoc, but will be taken out here in just a second. Lin going to go godlike here. Still has that double kill, and that's going to be a shield bow activated, and that's going to mean he will survive. Midnight dominating here. Will flash over this wall. Fresh going to get the double bomb, but healed up for in a second here. Midnight will be able to survive, and they'll be able to rout St. Clair. And again, St. Clair trying to contest these objectives with just not enough damage, and this Soraka is providing so much healing for the side of Binghamton.
So this fight pretty much just changed the whole tide of the game, in my opinion, because they got a full... Oh my god, we are going to see Zephyrot maybe try to take this at the last second. This will decide the fate of the entire game. If they can get this Baron, that'll help massively for lane pushing. We are going to see blue team
that was close.
Get it, though.
That chain almost landed. That was close.
That was very close.
So in the end, Binghamton do take the Baron, and they do take the gold lead up 5K now. They are definitely in the driver's seat in this game. The 8-0-12 Misfortune, the 9-2 and 12 Udyr looking so good in this one. And I mean, really, it was just kind of a snowball, right? We saw St. Clair. They definitely fell behind a little bit in the early game. I mean, they had the Camille on a lead here, but again, Ricky just couldn't really get it going in the side lane. And LeBlanc never really could get off the ground just because there was so much pressure from this Udyr all across the map. This is going to be an engage here. Barlow going to get taken down to literally 100 HP. Your TP going to come through, but Camille going to be going into a wall of death. That's 4 people from Binghamton. Camille, you are TPing into nothing. You are going to be taken down, and they will continue this push onward towards St. Clair's base.
This is a very heavy push for Binghamton. I think they're definitely going to be able to get that Nexus crystal.
Yeah,
I'm blanking on the word. Inhibitor. Thank you. But there's nothing that St. Clair can really do to stop this. I don't think they're going to push all the way in because that's a little bit dangerous right now. Yeah, they're going to back up. But that is definitely big for the side of Binghamton because now they're going to have the super minions spawning in mid lane. They don't have to worry as much about trying to defend that. They can go and focus on other lanes.
So it looks like they will be taking the jungle along the way. They're going to go bot lane, try and push up this wave. Most likely will be able to take at least a turret, if not 2 turrets and the inhibitor. So it looks like Scrubber will be pushed on here in the bot lane. All going to come through, will save his life for the moment. Zephyr trying to get away here. Predator will be activated, and that's the problem with this Hecarim being so, or the Udyr being so much more fed than this Hecarim, right? Is he is so big, has that elixir already being pumped, but this is going to be an engage here in bot lane. St. Clair trying for a last gasp effort here. They will be pushed Midnight back. Midnight will be able to flash out of that. Ricky going to be engaging here on the Lin. Will be able to find this kill. A big shutdown over to Ricky here. Exile, in the meanwhile, is all over St. Clair. St. Clair just trying to survive here. Bomb going to come down here in just a second, and they will be able to pick up that kill. So Scrubbick going to clean up Ricky, but Barlow going to get exiled. So in the end, it's still a 2-for-1 for St. Clair. They're going to re-engage here. Zephyr, though, is going to get stunned up and just distorts into his own death there. In the end, it's a 2-for-2. St. Clair does claim the shutdown onto Leah there, but it will cost him their entire life and maybe even this bot turret.
We are going to see the Hecarim just trying to get away there. That fight was a little weird. Who was that? The Camille that jumped in with like basically no health?
That was LeBlanc.
LeBlanc?
Yeah.
Okay, that was an interesting choice.
But I mean, realistically, look at this, right? Like, St. Clair down in gold right now, down in objectives. You have the Elder coming up right now. So you did have to force a fight here to try and make something happen. But the problem is TP is available, and they are going to try and get this Elder before St. Clair can even get back. And St. Clair going to have Ricky back and Fresh going to be available for this one. So they will look for a fight here, but don't have a lot of vision. There was a lot of vision cleared out here early on by Binghamton. So St. Clair going to be in a rough spot here. Fresh already going to get down to 0 HP, forced to pop the Resurrection, but no, they're going to wait it out. And he will go down here in just a second. Exile going to follow him all the way to the back line. Ehug going to be taken down here, trying to get this kill on Scrub, but Scrub going to be on a rampage here. Barlow being taken down as well. Bullet Time going to come out here, and St. Clair's hopes are going to be dashed in this one. Ricky going to be the only one left standing. Zephyr going to be taken down. A triple kill for Exile here, and Ricky, the last one standing, somehow still alive, but not for very much longer. NACE coming through. That's going to be Binghamton taking game number 1 in dominating fashion.
Oh my god, yeah. Now, the team of Binghamton is ending this game with double the kills of St. Clair and 9,000 gold over what St. Clair has. I think they kind of like, I don't want to be rude here, but they're kind of basically showing St. Clair who's boss by like being so far ahead. It's just like, I don't want to be
I
rude,
mean,
but
realistically, look at that game. The goal difference at the end was about 9K, but there was a couple times there where the goal difference only 2K, only 3K.
Yeah.
It wasn't too massive, and I definitely think St. Clair had a couple avenues to come back. But the problem was, for me, I look at this game, and I look at the bot lane for St. Clair. And again, it's this thing where St. Clair prioritizing this Senna. Now, first pick in the first rotation, obviously I think Zephyr couldn't really do much that game. The problem again was this Udyr just running around 11, 2, and 13 Midnight, just absolutely smurfing over everyone in this game. But prioritizing the Senna for Barlow, and Barlow just does not look comfortable on this champion, doesn't quite know the limits of how it plays, and it's not a strong champion. So going into this next game, I definitely look at St. Clair and I'm saying, okay, you guys need to rethink your draft. Give Barlow an aggressive ADC. Draft the Lucian Nami. Draft something good early where Barlow can use his agency to actually make stuff happen around the map, and even in the bot lane going for maybe a 2v2 for him and Fresh, or at least being able to survive these jungle ganks early on, because for me it just doesn't make sense to draft this Senna into this team comp. I mean, it's just not a good champ. It's not a good pick. So, and again, I mean, all credit has got to go to Binghamton, though. I definitely think that Udyr absolutely smurfing on everybody was so effective, so mobile around the map. You saw even at just like the 3-4 minute mark, even though he did get forced off his blue buff, still had double the CS of what the Hecarim did. So, like I said, Udyr forced to be reckoned with, and that's really was the difference maker for me in this game.
Definitely. Now going into the second game, I don't know if we're going to take a 5 minute or no, we're gonna go straight into it. Okay. Uh, I'm interested to see what happens in the second one. Definitely, like you said, I think it would be nice to see that Lucian Nami combo coming in because they are very good this patch. I myself have been playing a lot of Nami, and I know she is busted. For someone who's not good at the game to be able to say that, that's saying something.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. So, I mean, looking into the second game too, I think looking at the Camille build specifically, again, like I said, Triforce Titanic, it's good for pushing waves out, but the problem is you're Camille, you're ahead, you want to split push, right? Because that is your strength. If you're splitting in a side lane, you are going to be able to out 1v1 this Wukong at most stages of the game if you're ahead. You get that Ravenous, you get this Divine Sunder, and you're just able to 1v1 this Wukong, no problem, and you're forcing other people to come to you. But it seemed like this Camille was trying to make up. Ricky just trying to make up for what Barlow was lacking in the bot lane, lacking some of this wave clearing prowess because he was drafting the Senna, and it did kind of bring him his downfall because you saw a couple times he got 1v1'd in by this Wukong, and he got 1v1 by the Udyr. So I definitely think looking at game number 2, I want them to rethink how they're drafting and say, okay, we don't want priority. Either get priority on Barlow on an aggressive ADC, or so aggressive ADC, or give Ricky more ability to push himself ahead because he got a lead, but just wasn't able to do anything with it because the bot lane was already so far behind.
definitely. We are going to be going into a 2 minute break, we were just told. So I guess we will see you guys in the second game in a little bit.
We'll be back in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. Go Saints. Hopefully it can come back in game number 2.
Hopefully.